Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. Looking at Tuesday in the NBA here. We've got plenty to make up after a bad Monday night. 4-9. We'll go through the record here and look at the units as well and how everything went on Monday. Not a good night. A lot of stuff explainable. A few bad looks, but overall, we push on. Not much to change here. Still up 40 units on the season. So I'm going to get into the plays that I already have on the card. Just a few of those right now while we wait on some injury news. A lot of teams on a back-to-back, so we still need the injury reports for some of these squads. But I am going to be going over everything again on the live show, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, as we do every day. So definitely make sure to jump in there tonight, bring your bets, jump in the comments. We'll get it back here tonight and look at all that stuff together. So if that all sounds good, give that video a like. Let's get right into it. Nasty work here. 4-9, -5 units. Bobby P, we put in for a full 1.3 units, so we got that back for the full unit that we won. Mikal Bridges, coin respecter, as we call him, he is continuing to just show that he is the second best scorer on this team, at least from the wing, especially. And no cat was easy money with for Mikal's points last night. Goga hurt because he got the 2.5 assists in the first quarter. We just took that because you can also see under the misses there. We took two other Goga bets over 9.5 boards, and we took the SGP for the boards and the assist to combine for plus 160. And he missed the boards because he didn't play in the fourth quarter. The unit that they had out there for Jamal Mosley was playing really well. Wendell Carter Jr. was doing his thing. Cole Anthony maintained his minutes out there. So there was just no more space for Goga when they didn't need him as they were beating the Knicks. And that's just unfortunate, man. You can't control that stuff, but he had 8 going into the fourth quarter. I feel very confident that Goga was going to get 2 rebounds in any amount of time that he just stepped foot on the floor, but we couldn't get him back on the floor, so we lost that bet. Scottie Pippen, over 16.5 PR. He came through with 18 points last night, so he was a great look with a bunch of guys missing for Memphis. And then IQ, 11 points at the half. Couldn't get 7 more in the second half, turned into a complete blowout. And then RJ Barrett, who we were told was going to be on a minutes restriction, played the most minutes of any of the stars on the Raptors. So everything was effed in that game last night from the jump. I still don't mind the look. 17.5 points is very low for IQ, and he got more than halfway there. He got 3/4 of the way there, basically, in 2 quarters, and then couldn't score a point in the second half. Second time that's happened to us in the last 3 days. Derek White didn't score a point in the second half the other night. We needed him to get 4. It's how it rolls, man. This is just regression to the mean, to the averages. It's how this stuff goes. Being up 40 units is a blessing more than anything, and we're going to keep rolling with it. But finishing this stuff off, Julius Randle had about 7 potential assists. In hindsight, not enough against a really good Clippers defense. We probably need to take advantage of Randall's assist because he's still playing point forward, but we need to take advantage of those when he's playing a much worse defense than a top 10 defense like the Clippers have been all season. Ty Lue took everything away from Jay Randall, and he was awful last night and was a great under if you took him there. But Josh Giddey, PRA, didn't get the involvement. And the Bulls, once again, they were kind of trying to come back and struggling. Zach LaVine was the play last night against the Spurs. You really want to take those ball handlers and the pick and roll. Those are the guys that score a ton against this team. And Josh Giddey just wasn't looking to get involved quite as much in the offense, didn't take enough shots, and then missed them too. Everybody was awful last night in terms of the points, but also we should mention, I skipped the Paul George bet there. And Paul George was another guy, 4 for 14, ended up like 4 for 16 from the field. You can't predict these bad shooting nights, just how it goes sometimes against a bad Phoenix defense too. Still couldn't get there for Paul George. McDaniels, like 7 rebound chances, came up with 2 of them. Not a great rebounder, but we were still getting plus money. Once again, the matchup wasn't good for him against the Clippers, who shoot a good amount of threes, but they're a much better rebounding team than we give him credit for. And Spencer Dinwiddie is just not a good at basketball. I mean, he's just not good at he's athletic. He's got some individual talent. He's not a good enough team player to just assume that because other guys are out that he's going to be in. He still got 30 minutes. He just took 3 shots. He didn't even shoot the ball. Didn't even really distribute the ball. Didn't do much of anything. Don't have much respect for his game in the NBA these days. I'll be staying away from that stuff. So we are up now 40.6 units. I keep forgetting to update the year-to-date stuff, but we're up 40.6 now. So we lost a bunch in the last 5 days, which just means it's coming back around, y'all. Like, this is just called negative regression. We're still going to get this back. So if you want to get in on the heater before it kicks off, I am giving away a free month in the VIP. Use code LYB and sign up for any of the books that you see scrolling underneath me right now. Also have all those in the description of the video if you want to get in on it. So like I said, we're still planning on getting over the 100 unit mark on the season here, which has been the goal the whole time. Still up 40.1, 0.6 on the year. So we're going to keep it rolling and get back above 50 here. And by the end of this week is where we're at. So if you do want to jump in, just go ahead and sign up for one of these books and screenshot me proof that you did it on Twitter or Discord, and we'll go ahead and get you a free month in the VIP. You can tell some of these bets as soon as I'm making them. But let's go ahead and see what I've got here for you guys for for Tuesday. As you've probably seen by now, we're using Props Madness here. So if you do want to get in on the action and use the best product available to all of us here betting on the NBA, highly recommend checking out propsmadness.com. You can get a free trial when you check it out, but use code LYB and you will get 25% off your first month of subscription as well. So definitely recommend jumping in there using that code. But let's get into some of what I got here. So I do have a couple bets already on the card and a few looks that I'm either going to make in the next couple hours or we'll do that together on the live show at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. But I'm going to kick it off with a bet for a Hornet, and that's going to be Miles Bridges on the boards is where we're going. So 6.5 minus 150 means that most of the value here is gone. I got him 6.5 minus 125. You can still get minus 135 on Bet365, but this thing is going to spill over into 7.5 as it already has on one or two books for Bridges on the boards. But let's just start with the fact that 6.5 for a guy averaging 7.8 on the season is pretty silly. Now he does average a few more. One of the beautiful parts of the tool here on Props Madness, we can see how he does with and without certain guys. So LaMelo's playing, Brandon Miller's playing. Both of those guys are super important to the lineup. So we are going to put them in and see how he does when he plays with those guys. And when he plays with those guys, he's still basically at the same number, 7.6 boards per game, over in 7 of 10 that he's played with Ball and Brandon Miller this season. And in the games where he didn't go over, they weren't really close, and he played less than 30 minutes. Or this one he played 33, this one he played 25 against the Wolves, who are a much better rebounding team than are the Phoenix Suns. The Nets, also a better rebounding team than the Suns, and the 76ers. Actually, all three of those teams, much better rebounding teams than the Suns, and he had fewer minutes. So I think you get him back up to about 32, 34 minutes in this game. The only reason he's seen fewer minutes when he's played with these guys this season is either they're getting blown out, which is a possibility, although Phoenix is on the second night of the back-to-back, so keep that in mind. But it's also the idea that he was coming back from injury, and now he's healthy. His minutes have been back up over the course of the last 6 games, right? Hasn't missed a beat here. 26 against the Cavs because once again, they got smacked and ended up coming back a little bit, but still lost by double digits. Here we had 39 minutes against Detroit. That got him 9 boards, but basically my projection for him, because he's averaging about 10 rebounds per 36 minutes when he plays with LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller. When he plays with those two guys at about 10 rebounds per 36, if you have him at about 32 minutes tonight, I'd say he's good for 8 to 9 boards. About 8.5 rebounds is where I have him at. So anything that's over 6.5 for Miles Bridges is going to be a really good look tonight, as long as he plays 32 to 34 minutes, which is what he's doing on average. Next look in this game, gotta go over to talk about the Suns, because everything just sort of changed last game, which was last night against Philly for this team. So I'm going over to Brad Beal here because we've got a really low number, which I think is totally just the result of him being not in the starting lineup. That was the big change for last night, was that Brad Beal exited the starting lineup and started playing more with the second unit. In fact, I actually just paused the video and went ahead and made sure I got that bet in on Brad Beal, and I took him with the assists as well. I took the PA over 17.5 minus 115. This was minus 110 just like an hour ago, and as soon as I saw any movement on it, plus what we look at here is the books that are a little bit sharper, a lot of it sharper anyway, than DraftKings. For instance, Pinnacle. Right here, this is the one that I usually talk about on Props Madness, one of the sharper books out there. And at 14.5 points, this is minus 152 to the over on Pinnacle. So the fact that DraftKings is still hanging this at minus 125, and we're getting about double or 25 or 27 cents better for this on DraftKings versus a better, sharper book like Pinnacle, means I can trust this number a little bit more than I normally would. So I love that. Then we've got the 2.5 assists here, which he had 9 potentials last night. 6 of those 9 potentials, nice, came when he was playing without Devin Booker on the floor. And that's what we care about here, is that without Book, this man does so much better in general, which is why he's coming off the bench in the first place. When I come over here to Fantasy Labs on off court, this is a tool that's showing me how guys perform on court with certain other guys and off when other guys are off court, right? So for instance, I want to see how Bradley Beal does when he plays any amount of time this year without Devin Booker on the floor. And he's played 364 minutes without Devin Booker this season overall. He's averaging 22.4 points per 36 minutes, right? So it's not like per game. It's when he plays 36 minutes, he's at 22.5 points. But that, even if he plays 30 again, right, that's still good enough for roughly 18, 19 points. And this thing's at 14.5, right? And this is with Book off the floor. If we X this out and put Booker on the floor with Beal, as opposed to 22.4 points per 36, let's put him on court right now. I'm going to put Devin Booker on court with Brad Beal, and this is going to come out to show us Brad scores 5 points fewer per 36. He's at 17 points per 36 minutes with Booker out there. He's still at about 3 assists per 36, but when he's playing without Booker, that's 5 points more per 36 minutes. That's a lot. That's a huge deal. And so he's going to get that increased look of time without Booker in this game once again. And moving forward, as long as he's the captain of the second unit, so to speak, then we're going to keep looking at Beal at this very low, very beatable number. I know a lot of y'all are going to come with the LaMelo Ball looks tonight, and I can't fault you for that. But I'm waiting to see what happens with a little bit of market pressure here. I do agree that LaMelo Ball is a very good matchup against Phoenix. The reason being, you come down here, you see where LaMelo is pulling his shots from. This is shot type analysis and the season shot chart, right? That we can look at all on Props Madness to see how this matchup really works, right? So for LaMelo, if you look at the shot chart to start, he's scoring 48% of his points from above the break threes, right? Anything that's above the wing or the top of the key from three, that's where LaMelo is scoring his points. This Phoenix defense is 23rd, bad, limiting points right out at the top of the key, above the break threes, especially, right? The other thing that you see here is they've given up the 5th most points in the extended paint, right? 26th, limiting that number, that spot on the floor from the points. And if you talk about LaMelo, right, if we go back to his season shot chart, about 20% of his points he's shooting from outside the restricted area in the paint because he's got that little floater. So this is where whenever a guy has a nice floater shot and a team is playing sort of that drop defense like Phoenix does and is very bad at limiting the points right in this area, then I'm going to go ahead and feel good about LaMelo being able to get the points overall. The pick and roll ball handler stuff. So this is play type analysis. Just one little thing here below the shot chart. You can see the play type that a guy is scoring off of and how a team is defending that. The pick and roll ball handler is going to do very well against Phoenix. They do not have a good above the break defense, which is why they give up a lot of points to point guards as well, right? And so that's all that LaMelo is doing. He's the prototypical pull-up three guy, and that's the last thing here for the Phoenix defense is that if you go over to NBA Advanced Stats, you can see that the way that you beat the Phoenix defense, and this is all based on coaching, is going to be to go ahead and get the pull-up shots, right? So I'm going to opponent shooting to pull up the pull-up numbers here. So I've got opponent shooting and pull-up shot. So anybody taking a pull-up against these teams, you can see Phoenix is giving up the highest frequency of pull-up shots, right? 28.7% of the shots taken against them are off of the pull-up. That's the second most makes overall. And from the three-point line, it's the same thing. Third highest frequency against, and the second, third-ish most makes for Phoenix, 4.2, which is tied for third most with Houston. So if you're shooting pull-up stuff, which is all LaMelo's doing, we know that. He's not getting the ball passed to him to shoot off the catch and shoot. He's dribble, pull up, right? Oftentimes off the pick and roll play where he's getting a screen for him. So he's still going to be a good look in this one against Phoenix. I want to see what happens here. We've got some people at 25, Caesars at 25.5, DraftKings 27.5. I'm going to see how this plays out a little bit more, but we'll definitely be talking about LaMelo on the live show today. Let's scroll on down and move over to this Atlanta-Utah game. And I think there's another mispriced line that I'm looking at here, and it's for DeAndre Hunter. Now, I'm not totally sure what we're waiting on here, but DeAndre Hunter at 18.5 points is just too low. Minus 110 that you get on BetMGM. And once again, you can see on Pinnacle here that this is minus 139 at 18.5. This guy's averaging 22 or 20 points per game on the season, and we've got Jalen Johnson not playing in this game. So this is officially a bet on my card. We've been backing DeAndre Hunter all season, and there's no reason to stop now that he's going to be playing without Jalen Johnson. They lost by 26 to the Clippers. They sure as hell better not lose by 26 to the Jazz here. Now the Jazz probably a bit better than most people give them credit for. They're once again, though, going to be without everybody. I'm just pulling up the injury report here. Both JCs, Jordan Clarkson, John Collins, Keontae George, both out. Then we're going to have Lauri Markkanen questionable. I kind of hope he plays so that they are a little bit better on offense. And Colin Sexton. Also going to probably be without Bryce Sensabaugh, who had a really big game for them last game in that nice win that they had. So, yeah, I think that this is going to be a little bit closer than a blowout. That's for sure. It's not like it's a massive spread. I think the Hawks could lose this game, to be honest, after that 26-point drubbing they just took at the hands of the Clippers. But we've got Jalen Johnson out, and that's a dude who just honestly is going to be someone who takes some minutes and some touches and some shots away from DeAndre Hunter, and he's not going to be out there. If you look at the games without Jalen Johnson this season, it's not even that different. He's just pretty much consistently right between 18 to 20 points this year, two of them against the Nuggets without JJ, and he got blown out in one of those games too. He's been very efficient on the shooting, so it's not like he's I am relying a little bit on his maintaining his shooting, but the shots are there for him. 14, 16, 14, 20, and 15. So if he's at about 15 shots this year, he's in a really good spot. So let's look at these advanced filters that we can use and go field goal attempts that he's going to take. I want to know what happens when he takes a minimum of 14 shot attempts this season for his points. Looking at it, really good number here, up to 23 points per game when he's taking at least 14 shots. And what I told you is in the games that he played without Jalen Johnson this season, as we just saw when I took Jalen Johnson, put him off court, we know that in 4 games, he's taken an average of about 15 shots, right? 16, 15, 15, and 14. So about 16 shots per game without Jalen Johnson. So this is a great number here for us at 18.5. I think even at 19.5, if you can get this at as close as possible to even money, this is a really good look for DeAndre Hunter, who's been super consistent all year, and we're still getting value on him at 18.5, especially in a good matchup here against the Jazz, who are dead last in transition, which is his preferred play type. And they're also giving up the most 3-point attempts on the season, which is how he's scoring a lot of his points as well. Been very, very good from deep this year. So we're going to back DeAndre Hunter over 18.5 points. Skipping over everything else right now until we get into the live show, because we got to get to the marquee matchup here and talk about the Joker Nuggets, the joke Nuggets. Like this team is so dependent on him at this point. I'm really close to hitting the over 29.5. Now, this hasn't moved at all for the points. But once again, Pinnacle is hanging this at minus 140, and we're still getting minus 110 on places like DraftKings for Joker to get 30 plus points. This just comes down to, this is the best way for them to win. His shot attempts are up this season. He's up at about 31.5 points per game on the season. And really over the course of the last 20 games, as you can see, he's up to 32.6 points in the last 22 games. And that's really because Jamal Murray's gone. He's just disappeared from the Jamal Murray that we remember from the playoffs. Maybe he'll come back in time for the playoffs, but in the meantime, this man needs to score, especially without Aaron Gordon, who is the other guy who scores down low for them. Everybody else is scoring from the perimeter or off of jump shots for the most part, right? Christian Brown going to the rim a good amount, but other than that, it's Jokic in the post up against this team, and posting up or isolating or being one-on-one with your defender is the way to score against Boston, because they are so good as a team defensively, right? When it comes to switching everything, guarding the 3-point shots, sticking to shooters and not laying off of the shooters. So I don't really love the dimes for him. The rebounds I'm actually okay with if you wanted to take PR as well, but the PR, even at 11.5 boards, which I think we're getting great value on, it's still just mostly about the points. If he gets the points at 30, then he's going to get the PR, would be my thing. So I would rather just take the points, only have to worry about that, and take it at about minus 110 for him. It's just going to come down to the Celtics not being able to guard Joker and the Nuggets not being able to guard the Celtics overall. So he's going to have to put up points, especially if the Celtics are hitting threes, and it's going to help slow the game down. So that's why I like Joker on the points. And a direct correlation to Joker on the points is Kristaps on the boards. And that has been the case for centers all season. So I have bet Kristaps over 6.5 rebounds tonight. That's what I'm taking for him. I got this at a way better number. Minus 105 was available on FanDuel. Looks like minus 130 on ESPN Bet. And if you do have Bet365, there's probably a 6.5 for pretty good money on there as well. And I would take the 6.5. Now, I know he's averaging 6.5 on the season. He has gone over in 62% of the games or so, 8 of 13 that he's over in this season. And if you look at the minutes, it really comes down to the minutes. So he's played 30 minutes a handful of times so far. He's played 36 times. He's gone over in 5 of 6, averaging 7.2 rebounds in that time frame. Only time he failed to go over was against a very, very good rebounding team in the Orlando Magic. But if we pull up FanDuel Fantasy Pros here, the fact that Joker is shooting so much, and this is going to show us team defense versus position. So how are teams limiting each position, right? So if we go to centers and we go to rebounds, we can see that the Nuggets are giving up the 4th most rebounds per game to the center, despite having the man who is 3rd in the league in rebounds per game, right, at center, which is Jokic. So it's kind of weird, but it makes sense when you look at the increase in shots for Jokic from this season to last season. So I'm just going to come over here to StatMuse, pull up Jokic stats this season just to start, and see that he's in 31 games, 37 minutes, 31.5 points on 22 shots, essentially, right? 22 shots, 31.5 points. Let's do Jokic stats last season. 22 shots, 31 points, 31.5 versus 26.5 points, 18 shots. So he's taking 3 more attempts per game. He's scoring about 5 more points per game. And once again, the reason is because Jamal Murray has fallen off the face of the earth as far as the old Jamal Murray is concerned. Now, why would that lead to more rebounds for centers? because Jokic is taking his shots close to the rim. So when he takes the shot, the guy that's defending him, who will be Kristaps, is going to be in between Jokic and the rim. So for every shot that Jokic misses, Kristaps is going to be in the best possible position of any player on the floor to get the rebound. That's why we like the centers getting so many rebounds against Denver. We can't just come over here and blindly go, why is this happening? We have to go, this is happening because Jokic is shooting a lot more, and Kristaps is going to be his primary defender. Remember that when you're taking a rebounding prop, knowing who the defensive matchup is for each guy is super important because it impacts where they stand on the floor. So if Kristaps was guarding a guy like Miles Turner, I would hate the rebounds because he's going to chase him all the way out to the three-point line. Jokic is taking a good amount of three-pointers this year, more than last year, but not enough to warrant any kind of change, right? He's still taking the majority of his shots inside the paint. So that's where Kristaps is going to be defending him. That's why we like Kristaps in the center against Jokic to get the boards. So I played Kristaps boards, and almost definitely going to be playing Jokic on the points, but I will finalize that look with you guys on the live show at 5:30 p.m. today. All right, hope to see y'all in the live show, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Bring your bets, jump in the comments. Let me know what you want to look at. And me and David, the producer there, shout out David as always. We'll be helping you guys to look at those plays with you, find the best value for all the looks that we have for the games here on Tuesday night. So best of luck. Hope to see you guys in a few hours. Until I do, happy betting.